Hi everyone, thanks for making it Jamaica Magazine. We have a packed show today, so let's get down to business. First, we'll give you some important facts about the Caribbean Court of Justice. We'll tell you what the National Security Ministry is doing to stem crime in the Spanish Town area. And since today is National Children's Day, the rest of our show will be all about the children. It's a must-watch edition of Jamaica Magazine. The news is after these messages.
Jamaicans! For Labor Day this year, we will work together for the children.
That's right.
In every community, let's show them that we care. By creating and upgrading public spaces,
so our children can feel safe.
To play, have fun, and bond together. So come on, Jamaica, let's work together. It's a labor of love,
nurturing our children. This Labor Day, May 25th.
Good day, I'm Carrie Ann Smith, and this is your JIS News for Friday, May 15. Effective June 1, Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ will be implementing the withholding tax on specified services on a phased basis. Withholding tax is an amount legally deducted from an employee's wages or the invoice for services provided and given to government as partial payment of that person's income tax. The mechanism is not new to Jamaica and is already being used for workers who fall under PAYE, pay-as-you-earn, payment to non-residents, contractors levy, and GCT on government purchases. But Parliament amended the income tax in 2013, making it applicable to specified services such as accounting, entertainment, and management. It means 3% withholding tax will now be applied to invoices valuing $50,000 or more. For now, it only applies to government ministries, departments and agencies, as well as regulated financial institutions, tourism operators, and utility and cable companies earning over $500 million annually. Affected persons are still obligated to file their estimated and annual income tax returns and must meet their quarterly obligations, but they will be able to claim the amount that was being withheld as an income tax credit. The withholding tax on specified services is part of the process of broadening the tax net. Over $9 million has been spent by the Rural Electrification Program REP to connect residents of North Central St. Catherine to the national grid. Energy Minister Philip Powell recently toured the areas and commissioned the power supply into service. It's now lighting up the communities of Top Jackson, Pleasant Hill, and sections of Bogwalk. Over 140 households are benefiting in North Central St. Catherine, with many more in other parts of the island to benefit soon.
We are just 2.5% away from Jamaica leading the developing world, because the average across the world is 75%. We are at 97%. Right. We are going to be able to achieve 100% better, more electricity in Jamaica than in some richer countries.
Government will be renovating the Linstead Hospital's administrative department as part of a wider project to upgrade the health facility.
Today we celebrate the signing of a contract, the sum of $21.6 million for the administrative building at Linstead Hospital.
The contract was awarded to Black Brothers Limited, who will be upgrading the department's electrical system, installing an air conditioning unit, and buying new furniture. This development adds to work recently concluded on the hospital's X-ray unit and the installation of a state-of-the-art digital X-ray machine. Meanwhile, the Health Ministry will be spending $30 million to fully implement the electronic patient information system at 3 health facilities this fiscal year. The National Health Information and e-Health Strategy began as a pilot project at the Darlington and Santa Cruz Centers of Excellence in October 2014. Money to complete implementation at the Santa Cruz Center of Excellence, Black River Hospital, and the St. Elizabeth Health Center will come from the National Health Fund.
EPAS represents the foundation of a national electronic health record system. Each patient will have a single electronic health record with a unique, universal person identifier.
And the health minister is commending public sector nurses who he says continue to provide selfless service to the country. He was speaking at a ceremony celebrating International Nurses Day and the launch of Nurses Week on Tuesday. Dr. Ferguson said the ministry was focused on improving their working conditions.
We will be doing cadre, not reclassification, but rationalization, in order to put persons who are now temporary in permanent positions, and that will be pursued this year.
He said other work to improve nurses' working conditions had started and would continue. The Blue and John Crow Mountains are a step closer to being considered for inscription on the World Heritage List. Culture Minister Lisa Hanna recently told Parliament that the World Heritage Committee would make the decision when it meets this June in Germany.
It is an excellent thing to have the Blue and John Crow Mountains as a World Heritage Site. And what is good about it is that it is not only, it is going to be a mixed site for the natural heritage and habitats and also a cultural site. And it will really be the first mixed site if we get it in the Caribbean.
Minister Hanna also revealed that this year's independence celebrations would be expanded and enhanced to include the commemoration of the 150th anniversary of the Morant Bay Rebellion. This year's theme is Proud and Free Jamaica 53. And finally, early this morning, scores of children in downtown Kingston were celebrated by volunteers and representatives of the National Child Month Committee as the country celebrates National Children's Day. They also got stickers reminding them that they are special, with words of encouragement from the volunteers, which included members of the JIS team. The event is part of Child Month activities, which is being celebrated under the theme Child Safety and Security, or Priority. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Carrie Ann Smith. Thanks for watching.
Parents, make sure the children get immunized. Hear this. Immunization, it is a must. This is not a joke thing, this you can trust. It is required by law for entry to nursery, to daycare and to schools. Listen up, it is necessary to prevent diseases such as the measles, the poliomyelitis, the lockjaw and the whooping cough. Immunize your kids, keep them healthy, keep them strong. Prevent deadly diseases such as mumps, rubella and diphtheria. Immunize your child today. Immunization, a key to good health.
A message from the Ministry of Health and PAHO.
Just this Tuesday, the House of Representatives passed 3 bills geared at making the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, Jamaica's final court of appeal. The bills will now be brought to the Senate, and one of them will need at least 2/3 majority, or 14 votes, for it to be passed. In the final episode of our series on the CCJ, we examine other Caribbean jurisdictions who have embraced the court and whether a referendum is needed for Jamaica to make the CCJ its final appellate court.
From community outreach, court tours to annual law mooting competitions for law students across the region, the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, has definitely stamped its mark across the Caribbean. Thanks for joining us for the final edition of a 3-part series on the CCJ. This week, as promised, we look at its progress since its installation, examine Jamaica's position on using the CCJ as our final court of appeal, and look to the future. Speaking with journalists from across the region, President Sir Charles Byron was only too proud to outline some of the achievements of the court.
In statistical terms, 12 matters have been filed. In our appellate jurisdiction, between July 2005 and June 2012, 94 matters have been filed. The number of senior counsel appearing before the CCJ in these matters has been 45, and the number of junior counsel 130. The number of appeals indicate beyond doubt that there has been an increase in appeals to the final court.
In addition to the growing number of appeals, it is also believed that the court has impacted the rulings of other judges across the region. CARICOM member states have also responded well to the CCJ.
I think they're very happy with it. Guyana in particular has had particular benefits from the CCJ because they had left the Privy Council years ago, but they didn't have a court of appeal beyond their local court of appeal. And I know, for example, in property matters and land matters, there have been a number of appeals from Guyana to the CCJ which have put their law on a clear footing because there were a lot of confusion which has been sorted out by the CCJ.
With a promising future ahead, it's hoped that most, if not all, the CARICOM member states that signed the original CCJ agreement will use it as their final appellate court. So what's required for Jamaica to adopt the CCJ as its final court of appeal? Will a referendum be necessary?
A referendum is required where you are amending what's called a deeply entrenched provision of the Constitution. The provision that deals with the Privy Council is not entrenched at all, actually, because it was always envisaged that Jamaica would one day no longer adhere to the colonial court. Many countries of the former British Empire have adopted their own final court and left the Privy Council. None have had a referendum, including countries such as New Zealand and Canada. The only one that has had a referendum is St. Vincent. And the reason there was because their constitution specifically required it. We don't want to politicize the CCJ issue. We think it's an issue that should be done by consensus. And as part of repatriating our sovereignty, bringing our sovereignty home from London as a nation that's 50 years old.
Senator Golding adds that a referendum can be costly. The country could spend about $700 million to hold one. A 2/3 majority vote in the House is all that's required. It's true that the CCJ has a long way to go, but already there are high expectations.
I see the CCJ becoming an integral institution for the region, ensuring that the attempts to integrate from a trade and economic perspective is done in a cohesive and balanced way.
But for now, CCJ President Sir Charles Byron will be satisfied as long as the court continues to prove its worth.
The most important thing for me would be for the court to assist in ensuring that there are generally accepted performance standards throughout our region. The first one has to do with the timeliness of case delivery. Throughout our region, I think that's the #1 complaint that I've come across, that cases stay in the system for too long. And I think that as a final court of appeal, we are very interested in trying to see this improved.
And that's where we leave you on Get the Facts. For more information on the CCJ, visit CaribbeanCourtOfJustice.org. The CCJ, your people, your region, your court. Thanks for watching.
What are you doing to help the fight against crime?
Sitting on the corner, minding your own business, definitely not going to work.
It is time for us to unite.
Unite. Unite for change.
Citizens coming together to make their respective communities safer. The police, schools, public health, business, churches, NGOs, parents, and neighborhood watch volunteers.
As we, the police, do our job,
we as citizens need to do our part as well.
Report crimes or even suspicious activities.
Let's all work together
as one united front against crime.
And make Jamaica the place of choice to
live, work, raise families, and do business.
Unite for Change, an initiative of the Ministry of National Security.
The government is not only about securing better access to justice for Jamaicans through the CCJ. Everyday security and personal security are equally important. Up next, the National Security Minister walks and talks with residents in the Spanish Town area of St. Catherine and implements strategies to reduce crime there.
The St. Catherine North Police Division, home to communities in the Spanish Town area like New Nursery, Marchpen, and the Salt Pond Road. In 2014, there was a reduction in murders in the division, but since the start of the year, there's been a slight increase, mainly due to inter-gang conflict.
We are resolved not to let Spanish Town return to where it's coming from. We have had this slippage in the first half of this year, but we are determined to redouble our efforts. We're going to put whatever the necessary resources are to ensure that we keep on an improving trajectory.
A bold statement from National Security Minister Peter Bunting, who, along with other stakeholders, recently walked through areas in Spanish Town that have been affected by an upsurge in crime. They saw firsthand how the communities are laid out, offered support to residents, and outlined solutions to the crime problem. First order of business to neutralize the threat.
We want to neutralize those criminal gangs. We want to do everything possible to cut off the fuel of their criminal activity, which is money.
And so a police post will be established in the Spanish Town Bus Park to stop it from being used as a haven for extortion and other criminal activities. An area has already been identified for the police post.
We're going to overhaul the system of operation of the bus park. We are going to have to bring it under proper control of the parish council. We have to ensure that the revenues that it generates goes back into the revenues of the council and goes back into the communities in a legitimate way, not to support criminal activity. We're going to look at a number of other measures, including putting CCTV, etc., putting a number of security measures in the perimeter area, not just in the bus park itself, but in the communities and the feeder roads around the bus park. If we are successful in bringing some order, in bringing a lawful operation to the bus park and the transportation centers here, then I believe we will be on our way to reversing the situation of the last 20 years or so.
The police are also working with the residents to build partnerships and develop a level of trust and confidence. So far, so good.
I could see the interaction and the relationship between the police and the citizens. It was not a hostile one. And as you know, we're coming a far way in St. Catherine North. And I think once we are able to build on that foundation of trust between citizens and police, it will not leave any space for the criminals to continue to operate.
The church and other stakeholders are also on board, and over time, they will be working to beef up social intervention programs.
I know it's a challenge for any Minister of Security to be faced with all that he's faced with. But the church is standing with him, and several groups, interest groups across St. Catherine, Spanish Town, is working with the Minister of Security in taming this giant called murder and crime. And I want to say to Spanish Town, join the fight. Let's go against the few that is trying to come against the many, and let's win the battle, because Spanish Town doesn't belong to a few, it belongs to all of us.
We must reject any association, any common cause with these gangsters, and work together with the police to establish law and order in every single community across Jamaica.
The Ministry of National Security through the Jamaica Constabulary Force, implementing the Unite for Change campaign, working with communities and other stakeholders in the Spanish Town area to dismantle criminal gangs and restore law and order.
Arts in the Park is back, this time showcasing the best of Jamaica's dance moves. This Sunday, May 17 at Hope Botanical Gardens. Find out which of Jamaica's dance crews will stomp their way into a contract with world-leading dance companies, Ailey 2, Dance Africa and Block NYC. International dance choreographers and other groups will also be there scouting for the next team that can bring it. Let's dance.
There's a power in the faintest heartbeat that cannot be denied.
have to pay attention to our children and youth to save them from crime, violence, and abuse that is rampant in our society. And I want to remind all of us here and Jamaica, our children are our future.
And if not for those who loved us and who cared enough to show us, where would we be today?
Today is National Children's Day, and we here at the Jamaica Information Service pay tribute to all our youngsters who often put an ear-to-ear grin on the faces of us adults. They often keep us on our P's and Q's, serve as sources of inspiration, and enrich our lives in many ways. In this segment of our show, it's all about the children, their talents, and their words of wisdom. We kick things off with little Zoe.
Hey you! Yes, you with the TV remote. I know we all like to have fun. That's very cool, but we also have to make time for our books. We have to read to learn about different persons, places, or things. And we have to do our schoolwork. That way we will grow big and bright to get good jobs and earn lots of money. I am Zoe Thompson, and I love to spend time with my books. What about you? Join me now.
Come touch me now. Touch a button now. That's what I want to tell the boys and girls at school when I'm going at them on this. But remember the rules. Count from 1 to 10. If that's too short, you can always count to 100. Plus, you can always ignore the ask them. If it gets too intense, tell the teacher now. And if they don't want to listen, go to your parents or the police. You don't have to follow the bad things that everybody's doing. That means stop school class. Take a page at the next book. When me are the only man with pants pan waist, me nah follow nobody. So 2 things we're going to do as youngsters. We're going to keep the peace in school and we're going to keep it clean. You see me? I'm Josh. Stay cool and keep it positive. Straight.
And following those messages of hope and inspiration from the youngsters to their colleagues, we'll continue this segment of our show with a story from the children about an African folktale character, a trickster, but at times regarded as a wise soul filled with knowledge and lessons to take us through life. Who am I talking about? The incomparable Burra Nancy.
Burra Nancy is the king of our imagination.
Welcome to another week of School Zone. I'm Tamara. Now, everybody enjoys a good Anansi story. And this week we're joined by the Calabar Infant Primary and Junior High School students along with their teachers telling us about Anansi and him story.
Anansi and him story by Louise Bennett. Once upon a time, Anansi was a past-war woman yard, and him see her grandpicking out of the doorway. I read one story book, and Nancy go sit down
another, that them never got time for teeth. One day, one old man said to Anansi, Nancy, me hear said that is you make puss a rat fall out, and me have to thank you. And Nancy said, is me yes, the two of them push off in a storybook, and me can go in there? John Nancy, that shouldn't worry you. Me will put you in a storybook. And Nancy say, how comes? The old man say, me and all the other old man them, what you help with puss and rat, go and tell your story to we grand picnic them at night time, and them won't forget it. And Nancy say, so every night me will come remember you something about Michelle fi talk. So every night when the old man them I put them grand picnic to bed, and Nancy them on the wall or the ceiling fi make them remember fi tell him story. When them sleepy, and Nancy tie up them face with him rope and wake them up. Them tell them picnic and Nancy story. The picnic tell somebody, that somebody tell and tell. So till me and all that tell a Nancy story. Is a Nancy make it?
Jack Mandora.
We not choose none.
Hope you enjoyed that performance. Tune in next week for another exciting edition of School Zone.
Greater Nancy is the king of our imagination, bringing stories with the light of the ancient Africa.
And that's it for this Friday's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Thanks for staying with us. As the weekend approaches, remember to hug your children. Be nice to them and keep them out of harm's way. You can also watch programs produced by the JIS with them at your own leisure at jis.gov.jm, or YouTube channel, or other social media platforms. You may also save the date for our show tomorrow on this station. I'm Audrey Williams, and this has been Jamaica Magazine. Have a great weekend.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.